Grace Bowers on the Poptimist. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We're looking like right here, right next to us. I don't know. I think it's probably getting picked up on the cam. What kind of guitar is this? What year is it?
This is a 61 SG Special.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how did it come into your life?
The CEO of Brandy Melville messaged me on Instagram one day and was like, hey, I want to fly you down to New York to do some sessions with us. And Brandy Melville is a clothing company, so I was like, that's kind of weird, but it was a free trip to New York. And I went down there, and they had a whole studio underneath their main store. And they brought in all these session players we recorded like 2 covers, I think. And at the end of it, he had like this huge guitar collection, and he didn't play guitar very much, so he gave that to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful guitar. Yeah, Gibsons are pretty rad. I'm a bass player. I'm partial to Fender, but Gibson, I think, they're kind of like the Cadillac of guitars.
Yeah, definitely.
So you just recently did Zeppelin night at the basement with Danny and Eat Sleep Rock. What was that experience like?
It was cool, except the basement not wanting to let me in.
Yeah.
But it was a really good show. It sounded authentic, and it was sold out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was sold out.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, on a Tuesday night, right?
A Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember, honestly.
On a cold,
years gone by.
Rainy Tuesday. Yeah, I was there that night. You guys did Whole Lot of Love.
Yeah, last song.
Yeah, it was cool. You did a great job. Yeah, Scotty and all those musicians are fantastic players, and have really seen them grow over the years. I hadn't seen them play in a while, but they play down on Broadway a lot, so they're Broadway hot.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's like the people who are playing down there, they're playing like, 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week. It's just another level of shreddage at a certain point.
It's rough down there.
When did you first start playing guitar?
I first started playing guitar when I was I think I had just turned 9, somewhere around there. So that would be 7 years now.
What inspired you to pick the guitar up?
The first genre I fell in love with was actually hair metal, which is super duper random because I play like blues rock now. And I still love hair metal, but Slash was who made me want to play guitar. Guns N' Roses was like my first love. And I didn't grow up in a musical family, I grew up in a little town in California and wasn't really exposed to music, so Guns N' Roses, Winger, Rat was like all I knew at the time. So that's what got me really into it at first, and then I eventually found blues and blues-inspired rock.
How did you discover the hair metal? Was there anybody, like, does your family listen to a lot of music, or?
No, I think I just somehow stumbled across a YouTube video someday, and just thought it looked cool.
You just thought they were rock stars.
Very much.
Where did you make the leap over to blues rock? What kind of hooked you that got you into that?
Well, it was during COVID. I'd been playing for like 5 years, and I was going to I was doing School of Rock, not the musical, the strip mall version of it. And the teacher I had there was like just wasn't making me, but I would come in and we'd play all these songs I liked just note for note, and I never learned the pentatonic scale until like 3 years ago because no one showed it to me. So eventually I switched teachers to this guy in Oakland. His name's Billy, and he was all about making your own music and teaching us like the theory behind the guitar, music theory. And that was the first time I was like, wow, there's so much more I can do with this than like hair metal. So then obviously once you learn the pentatonic scale, that goes hand in hand with blues. So then I started listening to people like B.B. King, who else? Muddy Waters, Mississippi John Hurt, all those old Delta blues guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's so crazy when you look at musical American history, because it's like the Americans invented blues, and then the Brits invented what blues rock and perfected it. You know?
Exactly.
When you look at a player like Eric Clapton, for instance, which I never really listened to a lot of Clapton growing up, but I did a little bit of a deeper dive, and he has this live album. It's like live at the or something Rainbow. I can't remember what the exact title of the album is, but his backing band for that album is incredible, because it's like Pete Townsend is playing guitar. Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones is also playing guitar. I can't remember who was playing drums, and then Steve Winwood was playing keys. So it's like this super group that was backing Clapton when he was trying to come back after trying to get sober again. And it's a powerful show. And my favorite song on that album is this version of Badge that they do, which is originally a Cream song. Which I learned that was actually originally a George Harrison lick. That da 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 da.
No way.
Yeah, and he gave it to Clapton, and Clapton thought, he had it written down as bridge. George did, and then Clapton saw it and thought it said Badge, so that's how it became Badge. Random music.
Not know that story. That's cool.
Yeah, I might be lying about that. I don't really know. But it's so cool when you start diving into a lot of those blues players, because they have such a big appreciation for what came before them. There's a real history to it.
Yeah, that was also kind of what got me into it, because you can go back and back so many years, and like when it comes down to it, it all started with the blues and jazz. That's where everything started. Like every rock song you hear now has blues influence in it. Even hair metal was influenced by blues, especially Slash. You make that, like, you take away the distortion from that, and there's some blues licks in there.
Absolutely. I never really knew too much about what the blues was growing up. My first like actual involvement with it is when I moved to Nashville. There's this great place called Pop Attorneys. Have you ever heard of it before?
No, I haven't.
So it's over. Have you heard of Pop Attorneys?
I've heard of it, but I've never been there.
So Pop Attorneys is out by Percy Priest Lake. It's like
oh wait, is this the little like is it like on the lake?
It is.
I've been there.
You've been
Actually,
there?
Yeah.
Have you played there before?
No, I was trying to play, but there are too many people in there.
Yeah, so I would say if you go on Wednesday nights. There is a phenomenal house band there called Three Bean Soup. And it's two guys from Louisiana, one guy from North Carolina. So it's Terry Goose Downing, Patio Daddio, and then Don Kendrick is the drummer. But they play like a New Orleans style blues funk, which that's personally probably what my favorite style is.
I don't think I've heard that in Nashville yet.
Yeah. So Patio Daddio, in my opinion, is the best bass player in Nashville. But it's very worth going out there to go see them. Plus, they have amazing brisket. So, but yeah, it's a really cool place. And just thinking about the history of blues and all that, it's had a revitalization with players like John Mayer and Derek Trucks.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, especially over the past 10 to 20 years. It's something that just never dies as a music. It's true American music.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about John Mayer? Are you a John Mayer fan?
I've seen John Mayer twice at Bridgestone now, and he's great live. I've never once in my life listened to John Mayer just for the hell of it.
Really?
Never. But I'll always go and see him live when he's in town.
Yeah, he's incredible live.
And his band is amazing too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Steve Jordan, Pino Palladino, they're incredible. I will say, the one album you should give a Try is Try by John Mayer Trio. So that was like John Mayer fixing his image, I guess, as a musician, because he got kind of pigeonholed as just the guy who played Your Body is a Wonderland.
Yeah.
The pop sensation, which that's a part of him. There's nothing wrong with that. That's also valid as well. He does that well. But he was really trying to go back and change and show the fact that he was a real musician. And it's just him, Pino, and Steve, and it's nasty. It's really cool.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. So what do you got on the horizon right now?
Well, Paul McDonald just announced One Big Love Fest, which I think that's going to go throughout 3 months, I think. So I'll be playing a lot there. It's at Cletus, which is not a big fan of that name. It's a burger joint kind of by Donaldson.
That place just opened, right?
Yeah, it's got I think it'll be the next D's Lounge. It's
okay.
Cool. It'll be cool. And I just got asked to play the Ryman with the Gaslight Anthem.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Very cool.
Gosh, what else is coming up? And there's something in between those. I don't know. Usually I find out about things the day before, so
Yeah.
something else will pop up.
What has been your experience being here? You don't have like a do you have a consistent band that you play with?
I don't, not at the moment. That's kind of the end goal right now, actually. But it's kind of hard to find people who want to like play with a 16-year-old who can't even get into bars yet. That's tricky finding the right people for that. But
Sure.
Everyone's been letting me sit in with them. I'm super thankful for that. I've gotten to play with like all these different kinds of people, all different music genres, and that's probably a better experience for me right now than playing with a band full time, I think.
Well, you're getting a full spectrum of what music has to offer in Nashville because of it. Has it changed your playing at all?
Oh yeah. When I first moved out here, I had was very ignorant. I moved out here and I heard bluegrass for the first time because I grew up just not exposed to any music. Like it wasn't like a part of my life until I moved out here and was like surrounded by it 24/7. So it's definitely changed my playing in the way that like I'm around it all the time, and being around it makes you want to play. So I don't think I've ever practiced more than when I've lived out here.
Bluegrass, in a lot of ways, it's hillbilly jazz.
A little bit.
It's very technical. I could not sit in at a bluegrass jam.
I can't. I've been in too many situations now where there's like the little bluegrass circles they make.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that. Can't do that yet.
Have you ever heard of Spigma before? It's called Spigma, right, Danny?
Yep.
I don't think so.
So Spigma is, well, actually, can you describe it? Because I feel like you'll describe it better than me.
Absolutely. So they take the, they usually do it at I believe it's the Sheraton right by the airport.
Oh, wait.
Do you know the hotel?
I've been to that before.
Yeah, so they basically rent out the first 3 or 4 floors of the entire Sheraton hotel, and it's like you literally walk in and it's pretty much exactly what you described.
I went to that. There's literally circles everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
It's
And
crazy.
what's funny is right in like the main, like in the main atrium or whatever, there's a big sign that says no jamming in the hallway, but you walk in, there's like tons of people jamming, like right next to that sign. It's like kind of a joke every year. It's like someone gets a picture of them jamming, like right next to the no jamming in the hallway sign. Yeah,
this past one that just happened, it was my first time going to it.
That was the one I went to.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool, yeah, and it was interesting. It felt like you were walking into a movie.
Well, yeah, and bluegrass is such a different, like, it's a whole nother thing compared to any other genre. Because there's also a ton of heritage behind it.
For sure.
I feel like it's more of a generational thing than any other type of music.
Absolutely. I feel like with players like Billy Strings, it's finding like a younger audience now.
Yeah, for sure.
But what's interesting to me about bluegrass is that heritage piece. Like I have like Josh Norfleet from the Reveal. He grew up in a bluegrass family. Like their whole family is bluegrass musicians. Like his cousin Tristan Norfleet, he's a mandolin player. But yeah, I mean they are nasty players. But sometimes I'll be playing with them. I love them to death. Don't get me wrong, but they can be very frustrating to play with because sometimes they will tell me the wrong chords, whatever, and then Josh will apologize after, and he says, "Sorry, I'm just a dumb hillbilly."
They'll use Nashville numbers at best.
Yeah, if you're lucky, but their ability as musicians is phenomenal. They're great players, but Josh. I feel it's the same way with blues. I feel like in a lot of ways too. With bluegrass, there's a lot of players who are very traditional.
Yeah.
About what the blues is and what bluegrass is.
For sure.
Because I've been told by them that they were saying like, if you have drums, not bluegrass. If you have an electric bass, not bluegrass, not allowed. And then with blues players like playing out at the jams, it was funny. I kind of experienced that to a certain degree because it's like I play with a pick sometimes. So like in a blues, that's like a no, as a bass player.
Yeah.
But what are rules if they cannot be broken? Why are they there?
They're there to be broken.
Yeah, for sure. What blues player really were you drawn to? You felt like was your gateway in a lot of ways.
Probably Freddie King. Because
Okay.
just his phrasing. If you analyze it, it's like there's nothing super technical about it, but it was the way that he played each note. Like he played each note, he meant to play each note. Like it's hard to describe, and he used finger picks a lot, which gave him this super unique tone that you don't really. If you listen to him, you can close your eyes and you can tell it's Freddie King playing. Like he has that specific kind of tone to him.
Mm-hmm.
And players like Leslie West is one of my favorite guitar players. He took a lot of inspiration from him, and you can hear it in his playing with the super simple like. He lets his phrases breathe when he plays, and I really like that about him.
Freddie King, he is the one who plays Going Down. Is that him?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Texas blues, it smells like diesel. You know what I'm saying? It smells like an oil field. They're just pumping the ground, getting it out of there. Yeah, I don't know too much Freddie King. I know the album that Going Down is on, and I know he has like an instrumental album too, right? It's called like Texas Cannonball or something like that.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called actually.
Yeah.
There's something like that.
Yeah, but it's interesting because he seems like he's someone who had like a lot of phases over his career just because of how the times changed.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Him and I mean, just the period he lived through, like, the blues changed, like, because if you listen to, like, really old, like, Delta blues, it's all, like, these guys who have a guitar with, like, 2 strings, and they taught themselves.
Yeah.
And, super duper authentic, but then it, like, turned electric, and it kind of changed the game. I think they lived through that.
Yeah.
I'll have to see it happen.
Yeah, well, I guess the way that Muddy Waters, there was someone who was like going around and documenting. I don't know this exact story, but there was someone who was going around documenting, recording interviews with people, and it was the first time he heard himself sing, and he said, "Wow, I'm pretty good." And then eventually, he moved to Chicago and all of that, and went to Chess Records, but yeah, it's pretty fascinating. Have you ever seen the movie Cadillac Records?
I haven't.
Okay. So this movie probably came out a long time ago. I'll just say that. But it stars Adrian Brody. He plays Leonard Chess. I think that's his name in the movie. But it's about the founding of Chess Records.
Mm-hmm.
So it has like Beyonce plays Etta James, Muddy Waters. I can't remember the actor who plays Muddy Waters in the movie, but Howlin' Wolf's in the movie. Chuck Berry is in the movie.
Adrian Brody
Adrian Brody
is who stars.
Yeah, as Leonard Chess.
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm surprised I was
It
able
came
to pull that.
it came out in 2008.
Yeah, 2008.
All right.
Yeah, but it's worth the watch. It's a pretty cool story. Just because it's so crazy, you have all these different people move to Chicago. Because I think Howlin' Wolf was originally from Arkansas. Maybe I know he was first on Sun Records. That was where his first single came out at, I believe, or was early in his career. But
I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm just spitballing here. When did you discover Led Zeppelin?
Led Zeppelin was always... I think Whole Lotta Love was probably one of the first songs I ever learned. Led Zeppelin's always been there for me.
Mm-hmm. What is it about them that you love?
You can recognize even just John Bonham's drumming. Within like the first couple of seconds, you know it's Led Zeppelin.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy Page was a great writer too. Like things like the Rain song.
Mm-hmm.
Playing it, it's like how on earth did he think of to do that? And I think it's kind of genius, really. It's something that can't be reproduced. It was like that will never happen ever again.
No. I mean, it goes back to the conversation that we were kind of having before this about Outliers, the book by Malcolm Gladwell. It's these perfect storm events happening in the universe, whatever you want to call it, God, I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But putting those four players together, it's like John Paul Jones, him as a bass player, firstly, yes, he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably the greatest rock bass player of all time, in my opinion. But he's also an expert arranger, and he can play multiple instruments. And then Robert Plant, just with his swagger, his voice, it's so distinct.
Yeah.
There's no one else who sounds like him.
I agree.
Yeah, it's what's your favorite Zeppelin
Album?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Physical Graffiti.
Interesting choice. I wouldn't have guessed that. What is it? What are your top three from that album?
Oh gosh, you're making me think now. The Rover.
Okay.
I think it's called Black Country Woman.
Okay.
Is that the name of the song?
I think so.
I'm like 99% sure on
Which
that.
one?
Black Country Woman.
Yeah.
That is a song. What you said that's on Physical Graffiti?
Yeah. I feel like it is.
I can double check.
Trampled Underfoot is a good one too.
Oh yeah.
Love that one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I think my favorite on that album is the song Houses of the Holy.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that Roger Daltrey actually turned down the opportunity to be in Led Zeppelin?
No way. Really?
He was the original choice for Led Zeppelin. He turned it down and then recommended, I think Robert Plant was like 17 at the time or something like that, but Roger Daltrey was like, no, this isn't for me. Or, I'm ad-libbing, of course, but he basically turned down the opportunity to play in Led Zeppelin and then recommended Robert Plant.
Was he in The Who yet? Or was that pre The Who?
I believe he was. I'm not exactly sure, but I do remember that being a thing.
Wow.
That's nutty. Yeah, I had a pretty big phase when I first started playing where I got into The Who. They were probably my first, besides the Beatles, first favorite classic rock bands. Mm-hmm. It was like the Beatles got me into the songwriting and all that good stuff, but as players, for me, it was The Who just because of John Entwistle's bass playing.
Yeah.
It was like nothing I'd ever heard before. and I had this this vinyl record of Live at Leeds, and the way it's mixed, it's like guitar is panned all the way one side, bass is panned all the way to the other side, so I could turn down the guitar and just listen to the bass and try and mimic the bass parts.
Oh, you know what? I actually had it wrong. Sorry. Robert Plant almost joined the Who. I had it wrong.
Backwards.
Yeah, that was my mistake.
Close enough. We're not too technical on the Poptimist.
I think we can all be glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That would have been weird.
That would have been weird. I don't think that would have worked out.
No.
No.
No, I feel like the thing about Roger Daltrey and The Who is that there's this zaniness that he brings to the heaviness of some of Pete Townshend's songs and his lyrics. Because his voice, like Pete's voice is not angry. He kind of has a soft singing voice, which I like his singing voice. But it's just different. There was a funny video that came out. I don't know if anybody else will think it's funny, but it was The Who playing live. Danny, did you see this where Roger Daltrey was yelling at the people in the audience for smoking weed?
No.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. He says he's allergic, but no judgment to Roger Daltrey. He's a rock legend. What is something that you still want to try musically that you haven't gotten to do yet?
I took banjo lessons for 3 weeks. And now there's a banjo sitting in my room that's been unplayed for like months now. And I'd like to get back into that.
Okay.
It's kind of random.
Become a bluegrass picker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen. But wouldn't it be cool if I could just whip out a banjo and start playing it?
Yeah. Well, you could get a double neck, part banjo, part guitar, and start shredding between the two.
Does that exist?
I don't know.
You
It
can
should.
make it.
Yeah, you can make it.
I saw the other day a double neck guitar that was a ukulele and a mandolin.
That's weird.
It was both.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was like small, obviously, but it was, I think the bottom was the uke and then the top was the mandolin. I might have it backwards, but
I wonder if it was like a normal uke, because they have those bass ukes too.
yeah, I've seen those. But yeah, this was like a custom made like mandolin ukulele double neck. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Saw it on the internet.
The greatest thing about the internet, and it was just starting kind of when me and Danny were growing up, but the sheer access that you have now, all of us have, to hearing players talk about playing is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, you can pull up an interview with Jimmy Page where he's talking about 1973, what his strategy was playing guitar live, or just throwing out something random like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was like you said, you discovered kind of hair metal, and that got you into music from, you said YouTube?
From YouTube, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm glad it happened that way, but it's kind of weird that I just had like free reign on YouTube when I was like 8 years old.
Yeah, well, I mean, so much of the digital stuff that's going on today, it was like, I think most people, most parents, they don't really think about it, you know, because it's such a brand new thing. It's this new technology. Like, I saw, there's this one meme of this guy where he had like a Walkman, a TV, a radio, all sorts of stuff, a computer.
This thing is like all in your pocket now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I've seen an altered meme of that too, where the guy had a hat on that said FBI, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we have the entire recorded history of music in our pockets now.
It's crazy.
Yeah. What do you think for like people around your age? Do you like, you got into rock music at a really young age. Do you think that there are other kids like out there that have discovered it as well? But what I'm saying is, you're very unique in the way that you were drawn to this and became a great player early on. You know, so like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, Danny, but it's along the lines of rock music is not popular with the kids these days.
Yeah.
You're a rarity.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I would kind of want to know, like, too, I guess, kind of bouncing off of what you're trying to say is, do you, like, what are your thoughts about, like, do you think that you're, like, the only one? Do you want more people your age to play rock, or do you kind of like that you're standing out from like the normal trends of I guess it's fair to call you a Gen Z, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not the only one. I think rock's actually making a bit of a comeback right now. Or maybe that's just me scrolling through TikTok, seeing all these people in bell bottoms all of a sudden.
The algorithms.
It's weird. But there's definitely, I used to be really stuck up about this when I was in probably when I was in middle school. I was actually stuck up about everything in middle school, but specifically music. I was like, because not everyone, but a lot of kids were listening to like rap and pop, and now I don't care what other people want to listen to. But back then I'd be a huge dick about it. I was like, I was just really really annoying about it. You've probably met people like me in middle school.
Well, we were all you in middle school.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's a phase. You grow out of it.
Yeah.
thank God I grew out of it because I was really annoying about it. But I do wish it was rock or just any of those subgenres were more popular than they were. Maybe not more popular, maybe more appreciated is the right word.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely not dead. I'm definitely not the only one my age who is really into it right now.
Yeah, well, you look at bands like Greta Van Fleet, they're huge right now.
Yeah.
And they're, you know, say what you will about them, they're a divisive band in a lot of ways.
True.
But they're great players. They write
They're
great songs.
They're great people too.
Yeah.
They're all great.
Yeah. Yeah, they can shred, they can play. And I mean, they're huge right now. And they just keep growing. It's like every album they get a little bit bigger, which is it's nice to see rock music doing well. And of course there are other artists that I feel like are huge. You know, you look at someone like the Black Keys or even Arctic Monkeys. They're a little bit weirder and artier now. They're not really necessarily like a rock band per se anymore. They still are, but they're in their like Bowie phase of their career. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think people always want to proclaim that rock music is dead, and I never think that it is. It just goes through cycles and changes where sometimes it's more popular, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, exactly. I always get it really annoys me when I get a bunch of old guys come up to me like after a show or something, and they're like freaking out because I'm playing all this music, and they're like, rock is dead, like there's no new bands out anymore, and I'm like, you just don't want to listen to it.
Yeah.
Like those are the guys who hate on Greta Van Fleet for sounding like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And that's always pissed me off. But people just need to be more open towards it, especially the older generation, I think, because they're the ones who are shutting down all these newer bands, saying that they're like ripping off.
Back in my day. It wasn't
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this,
It's a horrible attitude to have towards it, and especially in Nashville, there's all these bands down here that are making really great, authentic rock and blues or whatever genre it is. And they'd be bigger if people were more open towards it, I feel like.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be, in every genre, in every aspect, if you put 10 musicians in a room together, 8 of them are going to have some kind of comment about hating whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Or they're going to not have a comment about hating it, but they're going to have a critique to offer.
Yeah.
For sure. But that just kind of comes with the territory. You know?
Yeah, musicians are a lot like school kids.
Yeah.
They can be.
Honestly, yeah.
No offense, of course.
Yeah, well, I think part of the reason that I got into music in the first place was I never really wanted to have to grow up in some ways, there's like a part of me that I'm holding on to forever that's always going to be the me sitting on the end of my bed in my bedroom in my parents' house trying to learn how to play a new song or something like that. Like, spiritually, I'm there. I think and I'm getting back there, like with kind of what I was talking about before with the experience of playing on Broadway.
Yeah.
And learning all of these songs that I learned, once upon a time, but it has been years since I've played them.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like I've refound myself in a lot of ways. I've also been reading comic books and building Legos, which I haven't done in a very long time either. So, have you gotten into Jerry Garcia at all yet?
I have, actually. I just played a Grateful Dead tribute on 420.
Okay.
Yeah, of all the days, right?
What songs did you play?
We played Shakedown Street and Railroad Blues. And there's a third one that I'm forgetting about right now. But Jeff Coffin came and sat in for Shakedown Street, and we jammed on it for like 20 minutes, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Grateful Dead is for.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really great live thing that the Dead released. It's of this legendary show that they did at Cornell University. I think it was maybe in the early to mid 70s. I don't know if Pigpen was still in the band or not. But if you ever get a chance, check it out. There's an incredible version of Scarlet Begonias into Fire on the Mountain. And it's like a seamless, like they're just weaving into it. It's incredible.
They do a really good version with Pigpen of Hard to Handle as well.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's originally an Otis Redding song, right?
Yeah. It's Otis Redding.
Yeah. Yeah, what I love too, like with blues and soul and funk, there's like all these standards that you go out and play. It's kind of the same way with bluegrass as well.
Definitely. I don't know what any of those are, but
yeah. But yeah, it's like Hard to Handle. I feel like if you go to a blues jam, you're bound to hear it. You're bound to hear something by Clapton, probably Cocaine.
oh, yeah.
More than likely. But yeah, like, what is your favorite lick of all time?
My favorite lick.
Yeah.
Man, I can't give that one away.
Okay.
I have one that's like for an E, kind of out of tune, but I'll usually use that to like at the end of a song. It's good to end it.
Okay. Well, and what is that? Just like a pentatonic run? You're talking to a bass player here, so you have to dumb it down for me.
I guess it would be, or like majors.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, again, you're talking to a bass player, so. What about you, Danny? You're more of a guitar player than I am.
Man, I don't know if I could even. I mean, I like to do bends, I guess, when I'm playing like blues and stuff like that. But I don't know if I have like a go-to lick. It's probably some sort of like walk down kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm out of practice. But I do love the blues. That's one of my go-to like genres to play for sure.
Well, it's great too because you can play with any player at any level for the blues. Because they just have to know 3 chords.
Exactly.
Or 1 chord, depending on what the standard is.
It's
or
the
what
beauty
the song
of
is.
it, yeah.
And it's all about the emotion.
Yeah.
That you bring to it. Because I think with guitar players, it's really like, the width of a paintbrush. I think the way hands get laid on an instrument. Same thing with everybody else too, and that's what makes the flavor and you have like uniqueness for music. But to me, I think it's the sound of the divine, the thing we can't explain.
Yeah.
It's a feeling. Do you write your own songs or okay?
Yeah, I've been writing with a lot of people. Hopefully one of these days we'll get something recorded, but just been writing stuff for right now.
Yeah. Nice. Like when you're writing, what is your process? Do you just kind of go from, like when you're inspired, or do you sit down to try and write?
Well, I try to sit down, like put time aside to sit down and like make myself write, but doesn't always work out. But usually I'll start with like it's either a riff or like a couple chords that I think sound nice together, and then I'll throw a melody on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
But also if I'm doing like I write with lots of other people, so everyone has a different process. So if I'm doing it with someone else, like, well, probably like it'll differ every time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it's it's really a muscle too, and you have to develop that muscle a little bit on your own. But the way I really learned how to write for like myself was learning from my good buddy Kurt Riley. I was in this band with him when I was in Florida when I was 18, and before that I never really had written songs, but I was always interested in it. And I got one Christmas, like a couple years after. This was probably like a year or two after. I got an iPad Mini, and I had GarageBand, and I had a interface that I could plug into it. And I would send him all of my songs, and I would get feedback from him, and he would just tell me, "Hey, this is great," or he's like, "This is not good. This is not good at all." But it's always very useful to have those people that you can bounce those ideas off of. But co-writing can be kind of tricky as well.
It can be. It depends on who you're doing it with.
Yeah, the vibe and the chemistry. And all that, for sure. Yeah. Where do you rank Angus Young in your favorite guitar players?
Oh gosh, well, I was just on today in Nashville, and she was asking me about. Oh crap! I forgot the question the lady asked me, but I was talking about how TNT was the first song I ever learned on guitar. Yeah, because this guy, my first teacher was in a church, and super religious, and I would ask him to teach me all these AC/DC songs, and he would tell me no. So I would learn it by ear, and that TNT was the first one.
Can you play a little bit of TNT for us? Do you remember how to play it? What's your
favorite?
That's
how it goes, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes. What's your favorite Jimmy Page riff?
Hell yeah. Great one.
I'd play the Rain Song or something, but it's in a weird tuning.
Oh, yeah. Which one was that?
How many more times?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They did that at
Zeppelin night.
At Zeppelin night. Yeah, okay. What about who were some of your other favorite players? You mentioned Slash.
My top are Mark Bolan and Leslie West.
Okay, Mark Bolan, so you're a T-Rex fan.
Yeah, big time.
Interesting. What is it about T-Rex that you like?
Well, because Mark Bolan was not a great guitar player, like, whatsoever. But he writes, like, he just had such an attitude to him, especially if you watch him live or, like, in interviews. Like, there's just something about him that he didn't need to be a good guitar player, because he got his message across anyways.
Well, he has a lot of swagger.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten into, like, any punk stuff or listened to any of that?
A bit, not super deep, but a little bit.
Have you listened to the Stooges before?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's kind of the same deal with them, or even the Ramones.
Oh, yeah.
Like Johnny Ramone, he's not a great guitar player by any stretch of the imagination.
They didn't have to be.
No. But what they did was very unique, like doing the downstroke thing. They didn't really know how to play.
Yeah,
so they were
exactly.
playing the way that they were able to. And I think that's kind of what the beauty of all the punk stuff was. I had a big punk phase, classic punk phase. Have you listened to the Misfits before? I
have. You know what? I'm not a fan of the Misfits.
Okay. Let's hear it. Why are you not a fan of the Misfits?
I don't know. They sound too harsh.
Okay.
Maybe
Like,
it's got to be an acquired taste or something.
too harsh in the way of the recordings or the way that they're playing?
Both.
Okay. That's fair. Hey, I get it. It's not for everybody. Different strokes for different folks. Who do you think the most unique guitar player is that you've ever heard?
Unique. That's a hard question. Shit, I don't know.
Would you like me to share my answer first?
Yeah.
Maybe you can bounce off that. I would say Jeff Beck.
That's a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would say if Jimi Hendrix were still alive, he and Jeff Beck would have did an album together in the 80s, undoubtedly, in my mind.
Well, didn't he play with Hendrix?
I don't know.
Did he?
Wait, I thought, how did Jeff Beck, what was his start?
So Jeff Beck, he played with, I think he started with Rod Stewart and the Small Faces, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know if that's where he started, but
I'm not
I don't
sure.
know.
Luckily, Danny has his handy-dandy supercomputer right in his hand, so he's able to look it up for us.
Jeff Beck. I've seen Jeff Beck, too, before he died, of course. I've seen him twice. I've seen him at Municipal Auditorium, and then I saw him one time at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
He was with... who was he with? No... Wow, I can't remember. It was a while ago. I do remember Jeff Beck played, and wow, it's off the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. Oh wait, who does LaGrange?
ZZ Top.
ZZ Top. Yeah, it was with ZZ Top.
Oh, cool.
That's what it was at Hollywood Bowl. And then the second time I saw him was actually, I think it was with, we were talking. I mentioned like Free and Bad Company earlier.
Yeah.
He played like with them, and then Ann Wilson from Heart was there too. It was like one of those big shows. But yeah, Jeff Beck, he definitely puts on a unique show, and he's a very interesting, like a very good guitar player. But let's see. Dang, there's so much stuff. Jeff Beck, here we go. So he started as a prominent member of the Yardbirds. So
that's
of
right.
Course,
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Where they all started.
Get in line, Jimmy Page, and who was the other one? We were talking Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
All of them were in the Yardbirds.
Yeah, it's just incredible to me that much, like, such a big piece of, like, what we're all influenced by today came from this one area. Which it came from one area from them. They would say the same thing about all the blues players that were from the U.S., like Muddy Waters or any of those guys. It's just crazy to me. They grew up in a bombed out London, like a post World War II London. I imagine it was a very drab, depressing place, and probably in a lot of ways that music was the escape for them.
I'm sure.
They're painting pictures in their mind of, like, the way I see it, maybe I'm being fantastical about it, but they're imagining America when they're playing this music and, like, coming to visit and experiencing what it's like and just being able to hear it and then see it in the movies. Which it's so funny, like, today, it's just like, it's similar, I imagine, in a certain way today. Like, I really romanticize, like, Japan sometimes. I look up what Japan is like and how they love music, and their culture there is, they love, like, jazz and blues and funk and rock and all these different kinds of things. And it's inspiring to see, like, people that actually want it, because rock music, of course, like we were talking about earlier, it goes through phases and cycles. But it seems like other places in the world, it is still gigantic.
Yeah.
Like Arctic Monkeys, I always use them as an example, but they were playing soccer stadiums like a decade plus ago in Brazil and other places like that. And really, when AM came out is when they finally blew up in America. It was like what people, and I say this in air quotes, I love Arctic Monkeys and I don't feel this way, but their sellout album, you know what I mean? Because it had like the hip hop
Yeah.
influence in production, which I really enjoy. I enjoy that, but yeah. Okay, can you give us another one of those first songs that you learned? You were doing TNT. What else were you doing? Of course, yeah. Guitar Center on a Saturday afternoon.
No, but actually another one was Wipeout by
The Safaris. Is it the Safaris?
no, actually I'm blanking now. It was a surf rock band.
Yeah.
It might have been. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I remember how to play it. It was like something like that. And it was really, really hard for me to play that too at the time.
Mm-hmm. Have you gone deep into surf rock, or was that just kind of...
I haven't. I don't know what the deal was with that song, because this was, again, from the guy who wouldn't teach me AC/DC, taught me that song. And then, I don't know, that was a random one. I've never really gotten too into surf rock. It is cool, though. I respect it.
Yeah, I had a pretty big surf rock phase because I got super into Quentin Tarantino when I was in high school, and like the half the soundtrack for Pulp Fiction is all surf rock tunes. So it made me just kind of do this deep dive into all these weirder songs and artists that were out there. But yeah, there's a great band that a guitar player from a great band that I've had on recently. It was Shermie from this band called the Suffragettes. And it's an all-girl band.
Yeah,
have you heard of them before?
I've seen them before.
Yeah, and they're really cool. They're great players, monster players. They do a really cool cover of "Toxic" by Britney Spears.
I don't think I've heard that yet.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's interesting.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Hey, not to backtrack too much, but I just found the relevance of, because I knew there was a connection between Hendrix and Jeff Beck. It is said that Jeff Beck was at Jimi Hendrix's first show in London.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
That Hendrix ever played in London, and that he immediately felt like he was no longer a good guitar player after watching Hendrix play. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you guys know this, but probably not the same night, maybe. I thought that I remembered it being the same night, but don't take this this part with a grain of salt, or that part with a grain of salt. But I do know that the first night Clapton saw Hendrix, the very next day was when he wrote the riff for Sunshine of Your Love.
Oh, really?
It was
sense.
yeah. So it
Totally.
was that riff was completely inspired by watching a
first
Jimmy.
song I learned.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
same. One of my first too. Yeah, but it was, that riff is literally like inspired from Eric Clapton watching Jimi Hendrix.
Nice. Where can people find you at?
Instagram, TikTok. Oh gosh, Reddit. I'm currently signed out of my YouTube and can't sign back into it.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's been that way for a few months, but I'm on YouTube. It's not active anymore, and that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Grace, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Of course. Keep on dreaming. I'll see you next week.